Shadows whisper when the lights go dim. Cold breath crawling on my skin. Voices echo from the other side. Is it real or just my mind? Things paranormal talks in the dark. Secrets buried leave a burning mark. We interview the dead, we debate the unknown. Chasing shadows where the seeds are sown. Fingers tapping on a Ouija board. Broken silence like a shattered chord. Eerie hums in the dead of night. Is it truth or just a trick of sight?
Well, that went perfectly.
Nice intro.
Thank you. I did my best. As always, welcome to a new Things Paranormal Talks. Today we have Chris Fleming. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Mary and Shane. I appreciate it.
Always. You're always welcome. As always, we start by introducing yourself to the crowd that will be watching, I hope. Who are you and what do we know you from?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm lost.
Just so you know, I have a sense of humor, so
I love
That's always good. So do we.
I'm not one that really likes to talk about myself unless it's related to something really important, like a message that's intertwined in that. But I'm an individual that has had a really interesting life. I mean, growing up in a haunted house, but it's not just haunted house. Having out of body experiences, having contact with certain spirits and stuff. My cat is like desperately trying to get in here right now, because he usually lays by my side. But going through a whole life of having these type of experiences, even though at times you are intertwined with it in grade school when your friends come over and they don't believe you and they have experiences in your house and they realize the significance that, oh my God, your house is haunted, was a really good relief to know that other people are experiencing it. Then getting older, you get caught up in stuff, and it's weird how the universe keeps pushing you back into this. I was an artist, graphic designer. I was in the mortgage business. And while I was in the mortgage business, people were just coming up to me, telling me their paranormal stories, even though I didn't talk about it. So I started ghost hunting around Chicagoland in the 90s, just because of the interest. I started getting more of an interest and realizing there's more people, not just myself, that have had experiences in a house. So because of that, I decided to publish a magazine. And from publishing a magazine, I spoke to people all over the world, had a renewed interest in the paranormal, supernatural, because I realized there's so many other things going on. And because of that, as fate would have it, and I remember telling my girlfriend at the time when I stopped doing the magazine, I said, I just can't do both, be in the mortgage business and do the magazine. It's just too much work. But I said, it's okay, because in the future, I'm going to be doing my magazine in a different form of media. I said, I see myself, on TV or whatever, documentaries, whatever, talking about the paranormal. And then sure enough, 3 years later, I was approached by 24 Productions, who was doing a show for Living TV. They reached out to me, said, hey, we got this show we want to do called Dead Famous. Are you interested? And I told them no. I said, no, I'm not. Right. And, and then they kept hounding me for a couple of months. And they said, please, can we just send this to you? You take a look at it. And my mom gave me advice. She says, you know what, just go to the UK, you get a free trip, enjoy yourself. Because I used to go to the UK all the time in the 80s. My mom was a flight attendant. So I used to go to Carnaby Street. And, I loved Carnaby Street back then with the hard rock paraphernalia they used to have, the t-shirts, baseball caps, everything. I used to bring that stuff home to my friends. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll go back to the UK, right? So I went to the UK, met Gil Porter, didn't really think anything of it. Was there for a day and a half. We shot this pilot. And I made contact with Mark Bolan. I was at this tree and I'm like, okay, I'll try to make contact. I can't guarantee anything. And all of a sudden I started feeling this and seeing something. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Just like I used to always do in grade school and high school. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Went home. 6 weeks later, they called and they told me it got green lit. And I said, congratulations. They said, no, dummy, you're on the show. I'm like, well, I don't want to do the show. I go, I'm busy doing the mortgages. I go, well, you have to, because we just got it green lit. And I'm like, oh, I was terrified. I was terrified. And, but that quickly changed with some of the paranormal things that happened, especially the Marilyn Monroe seance when these spirits appeared and the little girl was poking me in the cheek. I turned around. She says, Chris, we've always been here. You just chose to ignore us, and I started crying, and the director's like, what are you doing? Why are you crying? I said, because these ghosts are telling me they never left me. They just always been there. But she goes, well, then talk about it, you know? So for me, it was an interesting way to get involved. The universe kind of pushed me into it. And I went down this long road of going to the most haunted places I could ever imagine, that I'm so grateful for, because I grew up watching In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy, and he would take you to all these amazing paranormal, supernatural places. So for me, it was, the universe kind of pushed me into it.
Yeah. Well, busy bee from a
Yeah,
young age.
absolutely. So you did a lot of TV, and here in the Netherlands, we are familiar with Help My House is Haunted and Spooked Scotland and Spooked Ireland. But before we jump into it,
Yeah.
let me see. Yes.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How come I'm not surprised?
I'm so used to it now. It's just unbelievable. Where is he hiding?
I saw this little video that Ryan had posted yesterday of his series that he does, which is really cool. Him and Greg going around. And I said, you know what? I got to talk to him soon. I got this feeling I got to reach out. I got to talk to him or something. And then here you are. So
All good. So how are you doing? How are you? Are you good?
yeah, well, I'm doing okay. I'm still dealing with the ups and downs from the chemo damage, but I'm here. I got to let everybody know, Ryan, the first year, the series was trying to figure itself out, and we were trying to figure ourselves out. And because there's things we want to do, we could do, couldn't do. And it's just like, it going all these different directions. And then second season, the same thing happened again. But then Ryan and I are like, well, let's just do what we do best.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's like, let's just do what we do best. Forget everybody else, and Ryan was great with, the equipment, everything, the EVPs, and getting there. And, like I told him, and, it was a pleasure working with him, because we're both so passionate about this. I mean, this is our life. Evelyn does her thing, parapsychology. She's not a ghost hunter. She's, parapsych. She's book smart. She knows all the stuff in the books, right? But Ryan or I are like the ones grinding out in the dark, tripping over stuff and trying to make contact with the ghosts. And when we do, we get so excited, like we're like little kids in a candy store, like the drums, at the castle, Blackwater. We just get so excited, like, oh my God, not only are we getting one thing, but we're getting a second thing, a third thing, and things just kept happening. We get so excited, and it's hard to find people like that in the paranormal, because like, oh yeah, okay, either that's hard for them to accept and understand that these things do happen consistently when you're totally involved in the paranormal. But Ryan's one of those guys that I've had the honor and the pleasure of working with in my 20 years of doing paranormal TV. Between him and Barry Guy are two guys that just completely passionate, and they get excited just as much as I do when something paranormal happens. So
I remember a lot of the times we would do the investigations, and I got told a few times by, like Ruth or that, to don't get so excited, calm down, don't laugh when you get a great capture. I said, this is what I do. I'm just so in awe about what we've got. I'm not doing it in a point of view that I'm laughing at the spirit or I'm laughing because I'm like, wow, look what we've got here. So it was just complete enthusiasm. The exact same. And I've said, and I think I've actually said it to you guys as well before, people don't realize how hard Chris works. Forget about TV, forget about the filming that's going on. He was grinding. He was sitting with his Mac, listening to audio, going through everything.
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning.
Like Blackwater. I'm in the room by myself, and the door opens by itself, and I'm in there 2 in the morning. I got to get these EVPs done by tomorrow. So yeah, it's just, you're there, and it's once in a lifetime opportunity to speak with ghosts from different countries. So, Ryan knows, it's like now or never, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of the stuff we got during Spooked Scotland and Spooked Ireland, certainly Spooked Ireland, we had so much. We could have ran a show for 2.5, 3 hours easily and
easily.
scratched the surface. We had so many different ways that it was going with spirit, not just one story, like children and females and just different spirits. And we were trying to follow it all, and they're like, no, just focus on this.
Yeah, they narrow it down.
We can't do that. We've got something here, you know.
I'm glad Ryan brings that up. It's a big thing that him and I would talk about a lot in the car on their drives. And, you know, the crew production would get, you know, kind of mad at me because, you know, I would go off in different directions because I would make contact with a specific spirit and then I'd want to know its story. And like, well, Chris, we're here because of this spirit. I go, yeah, I'll get to them. But this is the one that's making contact with us. This is the one that's talking on the recorder. This is the one that's affecting our equipment.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? You know, you want to tell them, no, we don't want to talk to you. And the ones we do want to talk to don't want to talk to us. It's like, come on, you know, this is paranormal. This is ghost hunting. You go into a place to find out who's there. And this is who's here right now. So it's, I mean, there's some, like Ryan said, there's some amazing things that he came in contact with that he got, and myself regarding some of the spirits that were there or those spirits that actually came forward. And, you know, they would not share that because it didn't fit this narrative. Like people know, a lot of directors, producers, they take a look at a haunted location, they hear the stories, so they want to stick to those stories. They want to stick to what's already known to then shape it and tell their story in that paranormal setting. But for us as investigators, it's like we don't want to. We know some stuff here and there, but we don't want to know because we don't want to be pigeonholed that this is who it is and that's it. Well, it's not. You know, it's like, listen, this person's telling us it's not them. This is who they are. So we as investigators have to keep that real in stating that. But unfortunately, you know, directors, producers want to try to say, well, it's this or it's that, it's this, it's a witch or it's an evil entity or it's a demon or it's something. And we're like, well, there are demons, there are witches, there are stuff like that we've come in contact with, but right now, no. So it's like, you know,
it's a wee girl called Mary that comes from down the road.
So give us do you remember at Comlagan Castle, Ryan? We're in Scotland and we go into this room and all of a sudden I come in contact with this black knight. And I see this black knight that would go into the town. We're all black, and he had this black horse. And the village people, the people who lived there, used to think he was the devil because he never showed his face. And if you didn't pay taxes, he would take some of your livestock, or people would disappear. You'd never see them again. And he was just following the orders of the laird. Well, he was to serve the laird of the castle, but he fell in love with this one woman, and so he started having this relationship with the woman. Well, the laird found out about this and had her killed, and then when he found this out and confronted the laird said, you're supposed to serve me, not her. So then either he was killed or he was thrown out. But his soul has been searching to be reacquainted with her. And so here I am. I'm seeing her, talking to her. I'm seeing him. They're at different frequencies of vibration. And I'm trying to bring them together, and I bring them together. Now, I have this whole session on audio because I'm recording the whole thing. And when I listen to it, you hear their EVPs. Well, this went on for like 40 minutes. And the whole crew is sitting there going, Chris, there is no history of the Black Knight. I said, yeah, he was wiped out. The laird completely wiped him out because he was so upset what this guy did. And I have both souls saying, thank you, Chris. We appreciate this. And they were able to move on together, right? Well, this never made it in the show at all. I thought it was extraordinary. It could be a movie amongst itself. We go upstairs and there's an artifact of a complete Black Knight coat of armor and everything. And I'm like, look, well, Chris, that's not real. That's just, you know, someone had made that a long time ago. But why did they make it? It's all black, right? This is the first time we've been in this room. We're seeing this. I haven't been in here, nothing. And I'm telling you, this is showing that there is something within the history related to this Black Knight. So I've always had this idea in my head because of this experience. The Black Knight story never got to be told because it was a horrible story, but then it was a love story at the end, right? And these are the type of things we run into that never make it in the show because we're there for the castle and to discuss the woman that fell off, which we did come in contact with. She was pushed, and she told us she was pushed. So we uncover some really interesting unanswered questions, which is what our goal is. I mean, my goal, and Ryan said, okay, we're not just going to go in and get EVPs. We're not just going to come in. We're going to try to get answers. We find out, okay, what is it that history needs to know about this person? What are the unanswered questions? And we would go pursue those questions and get the answers. And that's what I loved that we did together on Haunted Scotland and Haunted Ireland.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. No, I'm 100%. I'm just at awe at the amount of things that happens, and that just didn't make it and people didn't get to see. It's just absolutely mind blowing. And I would even argue to the point that some of the EVPs and things that happened didn't make the show was so much stronger than what did. That people would be like, "Oh, that's just unbelievable! What you've got there." Because I mean, the way that we were doing it, we would do our sweeps, we would do our equipment sweeps and do our psychic sweeps, and then do our sessions. Then we were taking back that audio, we were running it through Adobe Audition, getting it all done, getting everything together, and then presenting this to our teammates, whether that be Gail and Evelyn or be Vogue and Evelyn. And we had some strong stuff there that didn't even make that part when we were doing our war room.
And even to discuss as well, Ryan and I both know, we also had a lot of audio that we never even got to go through. I mean, it's funny because you bring this. I just thought of this morning of some of the audio from when we were at the Wicklow jail. Yeah. I have still not gone through my EVPs from Wicklow jail. I haven't even listened to the audio at all. And I know there was really good EVPs because when I played them back in the recorder, they were there. But it got to a point where, because we condensed everything in like a day or two to get everything done. And we're not given a lot of time to listen to EVPs. So we would listen to it either before we go to bed or we're so tired because we're working 12-hour days, or we would do it in between investigations and takes of where we need to be. And that's tough because you want to also clear your mind because if you listen to audio, and then you're doing what you're doing, your brain gets kind of fragmented. And it's like you might hear something on the audio or you don't hear it, and then the next day you hear something different. And that has to do with brain frequencies, and which I studied with QEEGs. So I realized it's best for us to do the audio initial take, mark it, come back and listen to it again, and then if we can, take a day or two off and come back to it. So Ryan and I would be sometimes listening to audio even though we're no longer at that location, and never have we, when we found really good EVPs after the fact, have they been used in the show? No. They've only used stuff that was filmed while we were there. So just imagine when you finally get through the audio, you find all these great little diamonds and jewels of EVPs, of spirit communication, and none of that even gets considered by the production company. So it's tough. It's really tough. I was fortunate when I did Dead Famous as I started out because we would film over 7 days. So even though we would go to 3 locations, we would be filming over 7 days. So the next day, and usually when we're at a location, we're only there for a couple hours. Like Whaley House, I was there maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. But I did the analysis afterwards, and they would put the EVPs back in the show. But I would discover a lot of these, EVPs either during that 7 days or when I was home, and they say, wow, that's really great. We're going to throw that in there. Where was it about? I said, well, here's the audio. And here's where I was saying this, and then it responded, so they would put that in. So they were good about it, but in today's production, in some fairness, is because budgets are so tight, and they only have a couple weeks to really review all the footage, edit it, and package it. They don't have the time like they used to, where they used to have a month or two, right? Or a couple months. Now they have to quickly turn it around. They don't have the time to take our stuff, review it as well, and then decide where it's going to go and put it in. So they have to cookie cutter and just get the package done and submit it, which is a shame because you don't get to see everything possible of what happened within that show. So in some respect to them, I understand they've got this time limit and they don't want to be spending all this time because money is time. They have to pay those editors and everything. But from us, it's like an anthropologist finding a rare dinosaur bone, right? And it's like you've been doing this for years. You've been getting the money and the funding to do this. You go do it and you find it. That's the payoff. So for us, the payoff when we get some of this stuff and you don't get to see it, it's gut wrenching. It's heartbreaking.
It is. I mean, because a lot of the things that we got on the show, I mean, if we're putting stuff together ourselves, we would put that out. I mean, I do. I put the strongest, anything I get that I feel is the strongest, I'll put it out. I don't put everything out because I do realize that there is a lot of people who they won't listen to hours and hours of audio, but I at least try and put out the very best and say, listen to this. This is mind blowing. And And on another point of view with that as well is the amount of stuff, because I've seen comments online with things like, it's funny how only the TV investigators get, there's great evidence in this 1 hour show. And I pointed out the fact that, we were on location 2-3 days. We've got like hundreds of hours worth of cameras, different cameras and DVR systems and sessions. And that's condensed down to about 50 minutes or whatever without the adverts. I'm like, it's the highlights of what happens. It's like watching the football, rather than watching the game you're getting. It could be a boring game, could be really boring. But when you condense that down to just the highlights of that game, you probably say, wow, what a game. That was quite good. And we get that to a similar degree, but we had great evidence that just didn't make it into those highlights as well.
But let's give credit where credit's due. And some people may not agree with this. Some people may not like this, but I've been doing this a long enough time. Ryan's been doing this a long enough time as well. When you've been doing paranormal investigating and you understand spirits and consciousness and how they communicate and how you can capture their voices, you get it. You get the results. Like we did, Ryan and I did this where I went back to Ireland. I went back to Scotland on a tour, and Ryan joined us. Okay. And so Ryan and I and Greg, we went back to some of the locations from Haunted Scotland, Haunted Ireland, and we had a group of like 20, 30 people with us. So Ryan and I re-asked some questions from last time we were there on the show, and also continuous questions. And we got responses in front of the entire group. They witnessed it. They witnessed it on the EVP recorder, on his digital recorder, my recorder, witnessed it on the spirit box, witnessed it on the ghost box, the Frank's box, and the ITC. All the different devices of ITC we used, we were getting responses. Every location we went to. So everybody got to witness it and see it in real time, not through TV, their own experience, their own ears and eyes. And that is because we are not just someone that's been on TV, but we're always out in the field. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this a long time in the field, going to these locations with no cameras around. So we know how to communicate with spirits. When we did Help My House is Haunted, I proved to the crew, I said, I can get EVPs anywhere. They said, oh yeah? So we pull up to this one house. I'm in the car and I start doing EVP and I'm getting EVPs in the car, in the parking lot. I told them, I said, when you have a connection with spirit and you've been doing this so long, they have a respect for you. They know you. So they come. And that's just the thing is, like, I try to tell the director, don't worry about it. We'll get the evidence. They come to us. Or we seek them out. We find them and then they talk to us, you know?
Yeah.
Is that a bird? What is that bird in the
background? What it is? I'm in the outside garden and there's 3 crows, right? I feed them. Three crows.
That's so awesome.
And they come to the garden a lot, and that's them shouting on me.
That is so good. Why don't you film this and talk about this?
So the Ryan, 3 of them
that is extraordinary.
Yeah, 3 of them. They're crazy.
They have to do with spirituality too, and plus you have 3, which is a message.
3. I think it looks like an adult and two young crows, and they're outside the door. The door's open. They're outside the door looking.
I'm finding this fascinating, aren't you guys? I'm like, what? Yeah. Ryan, you've got to start filming that and putting it on your feed.
I'll film it and show you. I'll show you all. Yeah, it's every day, every single day.
Is awesome.
So we put some food out for them. I put some seeds, and Lisa puts some things out for them as well. So
on this episode of Ryan and the 3 Crows, one of the crows brings back a 5-pound note. The question is, where did it come from?
They can bring as many 5-pound notes as they want to bring. That would be brilliant.
You're gonna go viral,
dude. Brilliant.
Since we're having a lot of fun and a lot of laughter about this, what is your most hilarious thing that ever happened during investigations?
I don't know, Ryan. You take this one. What do you think is yours from your perspective? I already know what mine is, but I'm gonna see what yours is.
I mean, I'm on a funny point of view. Like I said earlier, I'm always you'll get a laugh out of me when something happens, and it's not I'm not laughing at what's happening. I'm laughing at the situation. And I'm going to talk about at least one or two with me and Chris on Spooked Island. He knows where I'm going to go with this. There's two that if you wanted a human Scooby-Doo to what it would look like, this is the scene that you would capture. And one of them was Blackwater, and and it was so scary as well. So I totally get it. But we're in the kitchen, right, and we're standing in the kitchen and we're doing our thing, and Chris is communicating and tuning into a guy who's there, and then all of a sudden the metal part on the kitchen comes flying off. And I've never seen anybody jump from standstill up into my arms, basically. But I get it because it was right next to Chris.
It was right next to me.
He could do the Olympics. He could be in the Olympics for the high jump.
Jumped into Ryan's arms. I totally forgot about this. As if it's like when Shaggy's holding Scooby.
Yeah.
Because the spirit was saying, I can do this. Like, I go, I'm not afraid of you. You can't do shit, basically, is what I'm saying. And all of a sudden, the entire panel off the washing machine comes flying off. And it hits the floor as if the whole building came down, like, bam, right? Because it's metal. And I'm like, whoa! Because that was right next to me. I thought it was going to hit me, right?
Yeah.
And the whole crew looks at me like, they've never seen me jump like that.
Yeah.
Scream.
It was
so
crazy.
Like, all right, you got me.
There was that one, the other one, which this one's actually a lot more scary because I heard, and again, this was my first reaction is always, to giggle, and then I'm like, why did you do that? I don't want to do that because I don't want to make it sound like I'm downplaying it for people watching. It's not. It's just me. I think it's maybe a reaction I have when I'm like, oh wow, I go, and I giggle because we're getting something happening, and it was Leap Castle, and it wasn't even funny in the slightest. We were up in I think it's the Bloody Chapel, the hissing at your leg, and
oh my god, yeah.
Actually, the first thing we thought was, is there a snake here? That's how.
That's what I thought. That's why I jumped away. I thought I was going to get bit.
And my first reaction was always to giggle at the same time because I heard it. I heard it clear as anything, and then it sunk in to what I heard, and I thought, oh wow, that is unbelievable. But yeah, Chris jumped, and I'm not surprised because this was loud, and there was nothing there. There was not a thing there on the floor.
But it's in the same location where Dustin Perry was shoved over a decade ago on Ghost Hunters International. And I had watched that show back in the day when it first aired, and I was friends with him. And I spoke to him saying, hopefully one day I get to go there to investigate that place. So for me, going to Leap Castle was like, all right, I got to go to that exact spot. I got to find out who and what was it, and to see not only was it legitimate what happened to him, but would it interact with me in any way? And what we caught was what we caught.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That was good. I mean, I was on TikTok and I spoke to Kieran. Do you remember Kieran from, I think it was the Battlefield? We done it together on the Battlefield. So
he asked them for the drums, and the drums
played. Yeah, the drums played in that. So I see him quite often online, and I say hi to him, and he commented on, I think I commented on his Leap Castle, and I said to him, we got a hissing. And he said, wow, we've had that several times inside there. So these kind of things are what makes it amazing for me, because you've got it happening independently with investigators who are out there week in, week out doing what we do. And they've got the same as what we got in that one time we were in, which is just amazing. But yeah, several times. So what is it? I don't know if it's this elemental type thing that's been seen in there that's making the noise.
Yeah, it was an elemental. I saw the thing race up the wall.
Yeah.
It was like the size of a child, and just it's really hard to describe because mostly I saw the back of it, but it's about the size of like a 1.5-year-old child.
Yeah.
But it had like almost like a goblin gargoyle type face to it. And I think Evelyn had figured out egregore, right? Egregore?
Yeah.
And we believe, based on the history and what I saw, that it was conjured, brought there, but never sent back.
Did we not get something that is it Connecticut? What was it? Connecticut Castle? I can't remember the name of it. That was like the.
It was calling it too. Remember?
Yeah, I remember we were there, and it was
called this. We call it it. So all the spirits were calling it because they did not know what to call it, because it was from some other dimension. It was from somewhere else. And as crazy as that sounds, it's just that when you're there and you get this evidence and everything starts to connect, that's the story. So it's a shame that the story wasn't developed further on the show. to discuss.
Yeah, because we were getting it through ITC, because we were using all different. I mean, we weren't just using audio recorders, whether it be the Sony ST25, the DR60, the Frank Spot.
They're all saying it. They were all calling it.
Right across every device, we were getting it, and words like conjure and conjuring and
conjure it. Yep.
These were coming through as well. But I don't think you've seen that whole lot in the show because they don't have enough time. But we were certainly getting that during our travels over those 2-3 days.
And this is what the dynamics in this particular investigation example really worked for the three of us, and how we all did our part. Here I am, I come in contact with this thing, I see this thing, I'm realizing, wow, this is some kind of elemental. I don't know where it came from, but here it is, it's making contact, and I can describe it to you, I can tell you it's angry, it's this and that, the emotions. Ryan's getting the it. Then I try and I get it. Okay, so the spirits are calling it, but what is it? Evelyn gets familiar with the history, kind of looks it up and realizes, wow, this woman used to conjure stuff. So it's looking like she conjured this entity up, this it. They don't know what it is because it came from somewhere else. So we asked, you were conjured? And said, yes. And this, and we find out, oh my God. So all three of us work together with these pieces that all fit into tell us the story of finally finding out the elemental that exists in LEP, where it came from, what its history is, and that it's called it because we don't know its actual name from wherever it came from. We don't know the species or anything. So this really brought forward a story to say, this is what's here. Okay. So someone else has got to take that further because we didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But that's what's amazing is about the paranormal is you get what you can get. And then if you're able to come back, you continue that. But if you spend a lot of time there, hopefully you can get from point A to point Z to fully understand what's there and to solve it. Like some places we solved it. Some places we were able to figure it out and put these spirits to rest. Or to come get the answer needed that so many investigators and throughout history never knew what it was. And I think that's what I really enjoyed about, when I was doing Help My House is Haunted, is that there was for the most part, there's a conclusion. But the same thing, I wanted that same thing for when I was brought over to Haunted Scotland. And I said, okay, guys, this is what we need to do, because the beginning of the series, it wasn't really fully developed. Well, what are we doing? We're just ghost hunting. We're doing this. I go, no, let's figure out who and what is here and then come to some conclusion for whatever they tell us or what we find out. There's got to be some conclusion. You just can't walk away like a lot of ghost shows have done in the past where they say, okay, there's a ghost here, it's haunted, that's it. Well, what does that tell us? It doesn't really tell us anything because we already know it's haunted. The question is it truly the spirit that's there? Why are they still there? Okay, why haven't they moved on? And who else or what else is there with them? Can that, then we get an idea of what's actually there. Where do we go next? What's the next question? So we would discuss that amongst ourselves. Okay, what else is left unanswered? What do you want to find out? What do you want to find out? All right, let's work on those things, with the time that we have to come to that conclusion. And that's what I liked we were able to do for the most part, or tried to do at times, because we were limited with the series, and just the show didn't continue for several other reasons. And it's like, man, because we wanted to go to Wales, we were going to go to other places, but with everything that's going on in the world and everything else, and me getting cancer and all this other stuff, and trying to find, matching us up with the right other presenter to go to these places is very difficult.
Yeah.
So the network's like, okay, we're not going to renew this for right now. And then of course they didn't renew Help My House is Haunted either, because they're going through all these structural changes with Paramount and everything else. And I know this because I'm keeping in touch with them. And I just got a message today from a producer I'm working with in the UK. They were supposed to have a meeting this week. It got pushed to September. And it got pushed to September because he's still got this Paramount buyout. So I'm trying to see where the network is going, if there's anything they want to do in the future, because I've got other ideas. And for me, and I know Ryan too, we would love to see something like Haunted Scotland and Haunted Ireland continue in other countries. I mean, that for us, when you're used to investigating in your own country and nearby, to go to other places, I learned doing Dead Famous is a gift. And it's the greatest thing you could ask for as a paranormal investigator, to have that opportunity to go to these other places. And you make new friends and you get to know new people. Like Ryan and I are friends for life, man. We've gone through some scary emotional moments, and even we got bitter against ourselves too, because we didn't understand each other. I did the same thing in Dead Famous. And you learn a lot and you respect one another because you realize their passion and why they tick the way they do. And that is like, you know, when you get to that point, you realize that what's really important is not us, but what's important is making contact with these souls that are trapped here or stuck here and finding out why, so we don't get stuck, you know, as well as what can we contribute to the paranormal that's not being contributed, because it's not about all scares like screaming and yelling and running. Oh my God, it's haunted. Did you just see that? That's crazy. This person got possessed. That's great. You know, okay, why? What is it that's possessing it? How do we prevent that? How do we fight that? How do we, you know, that's what we need to learn, right? And that's what we're all about.
Yeah. I mean, even I remember all the way back to Spook Scotland and settling Spooked Ireland, and in some shows you do see it. You'll see Chris doing prayers at the end to help. Now, you all know, paranormal investigators watching that, how many times do we get an EVP that says help or help me or help us? So what do you do?
The light angels were going into the light. Mom, dad are coming forward.
Yeah, we had all
see the
that
connection.
Yeah, so we certainly the number one that sticks to my mind is Bannockburn House. So it was none of this was filmed. Me and Chris went out the back, and Chris done his prayers for the soldiers. We run an ITC at the same time, and we could hear all those words: pray, prayer, help, light, angel. All this was coming through, and we done that regularly on different places. Some of it was actually in the shows themselves, because Chris would say, "Look, I really want to help them cross over. There's people, you know, spirits trapped here. They're asking for help. We can't leave it like this. We have to do something." And some of that made it into some of the shows that went out, but sometimes it was done quietly, and nobody even knows those prayers that took place off the screen.
Yeah, it's like you're given a purpose. You know, you're in this, like when I've done my readings and stuff with guides and angels, they said it's very simple for you humans. You know, when you come into this reality, you're here for three main things. And if you're suffering depression, oppression, if you start doing these three things, you'll realize your significance. And that's to create, contribute, and express. So you create something, you bring it into the world, right? You contribute for others, and whatever you're doing has to contribute in some fashion. But you also express yourself. You express your emotions. You express what matters to you, what matters to others. And when you do all three of those things, you're fully fulfilling your reason for being here. So when we do a show, in any show, because I remember when Ryan and I first got on a Zoom call with Evelyn, I said, okay, what's your intent, guys? What do you want to contribute to the show? You know, if you don't know what it is right now, then think about it. Because when we do this and get together, we have to contribute something to the paranormal. We have to contribute something individually, but also as a team. And when we do that, it makes what we're doing very significant. And then, of course, the universe identifies that. And then it helps us in accomplishing those goals. So I've done that with every show, you know, and some people will say, you know, I know Ryan and I were on the same page too. And then sometimes other people are like, well, I want to be famous. I want to be this. I want to be that. And that's not what it's about. And if they think that's what it's about, it's not going to end well. That's the thing. And is you have to be contributing something to the universe. You have to be contributing something to the paranormal. To the field, you know, where can we take this? What can we leave behind that other paranormal investigators can pick up the torch and take it with, or that will be remembered that this works and this helps talking to spirits. So that's the big thing. You know, when you get to a point, you've been doing it so long, it's like, okay, what's next, right? Well, this is what's next, is the contribution factor. So, but I wanted to share this one thing, because we're talking about what's funny, you know. And Ryan will remember this. During the first season, we had this audio guy, Steve, and Steve was hilarious. Steve was great. Such a great personality. And wherever we got an EVP or he'd hear something, he said, I got something. You want to hear it? He goes, yeah, let's hear it. Well, we played this game, and because I would always mess around with the crew. You know, I felt the crew are they're just as important as us. And so you never look down on them and everything when you're behind the camera, you're on TV. He says, no, they are the reason you're here. So everybody's a team, right? So I say, guys, let's have some fun. You know, let's make this more fun, because when you're working long hours, you get tired, you get weak. And I know through psychology that humor, okay, is a great way to get your second wind, you know, because then it's like, all right, you got this emotion. This is fun now. This is exciting. So we would play a game that whatever location we went to, they would have to give me a word. And I would have to work that word in somehow, some way during my investigation, right? So the first couple investigations, so easy. You know, they give me easy words, right? So we go to Comlagan Castle, And Steve says, you know what? Steve is our sound guy, and Steve was our director of photography. He says, both Steve and Steve, we got a word you will never be able to work in. I said, yeah, give it to me. So they gave me the word, and I don't know if I can say this on the radio, but it is the female counterpart for the woman. It starts with the V, vagina. I'm just going to say that. Okay?
Everything here.
Okay, vagina. And so Gail's like, oh my God, you know, and it's like, I said, all right, just wait. They're like, there's no way you're going to be able to work this in the investigation. I said, the universe will determine that. So we're investigating different parts of the castle and everything. We go in this one room, we're by a well, and then we go over to where there's like this dungeon or something. It goes down into this like crypt. So they're like, who's going to go down there? So, and Gail, we want you to go down there. And they look at me, I'm not going down there. And so Ryan goes down there. So I'm holding a flashlight and everything, and I'm holding a little camera, and they got a little camera, and the crew's behind me. So they go down these steps to where there's all this dirt, and there's a skeleton there, right? And there's all these bugs, and they're worried about the bugs. So I'm like, it pops into my head. So I'm like, Gail, is it a real skeleton? She goes, I don't know. I think it's a fake skeleton. I go, well, is it male or female? She looks at me and goes, how the hell am I supposed to tell if it's male or female? I go, well, does it have a vagina?
True story.
The crew loses it. I mean, we're laughing for like, I don't know how long. And they're like, no. They're like, Steve's like, no way you just did that. And I set it up. Right? It was there. So then Gail starts getting mad. She goes, why are you guys laughing and everything? Because I'm getting attacked by all these bugs. Gosh darn it. Can we get, all right. We'll get back to it. But it's those moments that I cherish because it allows us to have some fun and bond. I mean, you're dealing with places where people have been executed. They've been treated terribly. And we're not making fun of that in any way, but we're human beings. And we still have to enjoy our life and enjoy those moments and to make them memorable rather than it's all dark and gloom. So it's like, I thought this was a way to spice things up. And then the director's like, all right, we're done with this game. We're done with this game. I'm like, come on. And we couldn't, the crew would not do it the second season. We had a new crew, but it was like, oh, this is boring. Come on, man. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun.
You remember what I done to Simon at Blackwater when I gave him a fright?
How could I ever forget that?
We had a sound guy, Simon. The video, there's a video out somewhere of it, but we says we're going to give him a fright because he was a little on edge, wasn't he? He hadn't done paranormal before. He wasn't sure. Religious guy from Belfast, and I thought, yeah, let's give him a fright. And we got to Blackwater. And I heard him in his room. He was having a shave and he's singing, da, 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 and he's getting ready to go out for a beer. And I sneak all the way up to his door, and I stood there for ages at the door, just waiting. I says, when he opens that door, I'm going to give him a fright. And I just thought it was the most amazing thing ever when he opened the door, just to see somebody when you catch them like that. And I went, ah! No, the sound of me shouting went through the whole castle at the same time. And he just, I thought his soul left his body temporarily. He done one of these things, not a noise, no noise, just. And it was just so funny. And I remember I heard Evelyn downstairs shouting up, "Don't kill Simon, he's the only sound guy we've got." Yeah, it was. I think it was these moments that help you, like Chris says.
Yeah.
Moments that, you know, that bond the team. And as Chris said, we were one big team. You know, yeah, we were on the screen, but you had all these people behind cameras and things, and they were very, very important. And we always told them, remember, things may happen to you too. You know, it's not just about, and at any time, don't rely on cameras being on or off, or which happened at Blackwater. Things went missing. People, they lost the keys to the hire car. They couldn't find them. They lost their drone. They lost shaving equipment and things as well. So all this kind of stuff was happening, and they were trying to rationalize it. So we were like, "Oh, okay, you find your keys yet? Okay." And they were blaming us. You've got our keys. We've not done it. It's not us. Obviously, there's something else going on here. And eventually, they got them at the last minute, like what usually happens in these things. So yeah.
There was times where I get a little bit like a chemical imbalance, and let me describe that is because I had a TBI back in 2009. So it would happen based on foods and whatever was in my bloodstream. Like if I didn't have enough food or I get food, whatever, I would go just from a very extreme calm to where then all of a sudden I would get this euphoric feeling where I start laughing and I would start giggling or laughing. So there'd be times when I was with Ryan or I was with Gail and something would seem funny to me. That was just normal. And I start laughing and then they'd start laughing and then I start laughing and then I start being goofy because I'm getting in this happy, funny, and I start messing around and the crew would get upset because, we only have so much time to film. And here I am laughing and just making jokes of every single thing. And any little thing I would say, or Ryan would say, whatever, I would just start laughing and then everybody else would start laughing. The crew would start laughing. And it was like, I'm sorry, guys, and then it would fade. And I still get this. It still happens to me sometimes. And then I stop and people are like, what the hell's wrong with you? I said, I know, I just went through some chemical change and I just start laughing, but it's, it doesn't hurt. It feels good, actually.
Yeah.
But it's just weird when that would happen. But, and it could be with someone I'm interviewing and I'm trying to laugh or Gail, and Gail would start laughing too. And then she would say something, make me laugh. And then I'd laugh. And they're like, all right, guys, serious. Can we get serious, please? So people don't realize that I am a serious person, but I do like to goof around a lot, just like I did in high school and college.
Keeps it light.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing is it makes it fun,
Yeah. Sure
and that's important, and that's the way people bond because humor is like the greatest thing for anything.
Yeah.
People that can sing music and humor is what can connect all of us. So I try to allow whenever I've done shows, allow that to be a part of it instead of just all seriousness. Even though the crew's like, we want to get home, we want to wrap this up, we don't want to be here, and I understand that. I'm sorry, not disrespectful, but can we at least have some kind of fun?
Yeah.
So that's something I think is worth sharing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So Mary Shane, you want to ask us any questions? We've been talking for a half hour.
Yes. What I love listening.
Don't ever get us together because we just can't stop talking.
Remind me
We have
next
so
time.
much to share.
Remind me next time.
Ryan, we
But
should start our own
during
talk show.
filming in the UK, in Scotland and Ireland, were you ever attacked?
Are you asking me or Ryan?
No, I'm asking you.
We talk about ghosts or real people.
Have I ever been attacked?
Yeah, by ghosts.
Okay, what do you mean by attacked? Because we know what happened at the jail. I don't think I was. I don't remember ever being physically like attacked or scratched, but I had at what's the castle where your previous teammates saw the elemental in the hallway?
Castle Mingus.
It's Castle Mingus. I was on the stairs with the SLS camera, and all of a sudden something went into me, like, and I couldn't move. I couldn't blink, nothing, and I collapsed on the stairs. And I thought I broke the SLS, but I did because months later, it broke. The SLS broke. But something possessed me for a brief moment, shut off my entire system to where I collapsed, and then it was out of me. Then the cameraman comes in, Chris, and he tries filming it, and then one of his rods in his camera goes shooting off out of the camera, and the camera almost falls over, and it's like, what the hell? I said, it just pulled that out of your camera. It was messing with me. What's ironic is that the guy that Ryan knew downstairs had just seen this entity, and it shot through the wall, and then moments later it came up, did that to me, and then did that to the camera. So that was a form of attack to where I didn't give it permission to enter into my body and to do that, but it did that. So I would call that an attack. I don't think I was ever physically assaulted, like punched or knocked over in any way. I'm pretty good at protecting myself for stuff like that. But in that moment, I wasn't paying attention, and then that happened. So that's the only thing I can really think of. But then the other thing too is it can be taken out of context, which it has because it's gone viral all over the freaking internet. Is what happened to me at the jail. That something entered into me, and because it's taken out of. But it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. I get it. But we were at the jail with Gail. Gail and I was going in. We're interviewing a woman. I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I feel something, and I would equate it to a proctology exam when the doctor takes the glove out, whatever, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, just what happened? Do I think that I know that? And I'm sitting there arguing with myself, knowing full well what I just experienced. And I walked out, and they're like, what's wrong? I said, something just happened to me. I'm still trying to rationalize that this just happened. And so I explained it to him. And the crew's like, well, do you want to put this on TV or not? I go, well, listen, I'm an investigator. It's not about me. I have to share what happened. Whether people think it's funny, they don't believe it, I don't care. This is what just happened. So we go back. They're interviewing me about what happened. We come back in, and then the woman's like, what happened? That, does the tours for the place. I told her, she's like, oh my God, in this room, they used to examine the prisoners that came in by going up into their anus to check to see if there's anything there. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So what I experienced was it something that was there doing that to me as a joke? Possibly. Or was I experiencing something from the past that was placed memory? Regardless, I know what I felt, right? So, the crews laughed about it for weeks and stuff like that and whatever. What happened. Well, Ryan and I had the opportunity to go back there when we were doing one of my tours, and he takes out his recorder, and we asked several questions related to that, and it responded. It said, I want to F you. I want to F you. And it was taking what happened to me and continuing the conversation, even though a couple of years had gone by.
Yeah.
So whatever's there is still there. All right. Whether people believe it or not, it really doesn't matter, because we were there to document, and that's what happened. So it's stuff like that, as an investigator, you're going to have these things happen. I mean, I have many cases where women have been attacked sexually. Men have been attacked. We were filming Dead Famous, and James, holding our cameraman during a seance, he got groped in the groin. And he's like, whoa, and he shoots out of the room. We're like, well, it was something just grabbed me in the groin, right? So these things can happen. They don't always happen, but when they do, it is what it is. And that's the way I look at it. And it has to be discussed. You go back to the entity case, the woman that was sexually accosted all the time.
Oh,
You have many cases like whether it's male or female. My buddy Adam Bly told me a year ago, has a gentleman that is getting raped by this demonic entity consistently. So these things do happen. It's just that, sometimes viewers, they just don't believe it. But that's not our job, whether they believe it or not. Our job is to tell you and document what happened. And this is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Because they always want proof. And if you give them proof, they want more proof.
Yeah.
You give
Which
them
is
more
fine.
proof, they want more proof. And it's
Right.
like, no, I'm just telling you, it is what it is, and you can believe it. Or
That's the way that we structure. Certainly, when I'm putting content out with Greg and stuff, the way that we've got it is we capture what we capture, we put it together, and we put it out and we say, "You make your mind up. This is what we got. This is what we've experienced." But it's up to the person then looking at the piece of content, whether. Because there's so many different opinions. We know that, some people like ITC, some people don't. They say it's a lot of rubbish. And I've heard all the different arguments, and I've done all the different tests on that. And eventually I think you just get to a point where you just say, this is what I captured. This is the research we've done afterwards. This is the history. You've got all the pieces. You have a look at it and tell me, do you believe that this is paranormal or do you not? Either way, that's up to you. Where you're coming from with that, and we're quite happy with that, because we could easily say I've had so many paranormal experiences, it's unbelievable. I've seen spirit, so I know there's something going on, but trying to trying to tell people that I get it, that some people will be like, yeah, you sure it just be this, and they'll have a rational explanation from that point of view. But when you've been there and you've experienced, or you've analyzed for hours, and you've got this content and you know what the environment was, and you've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I've not been as long as Chris. I've been 22 years. I've been doing the paranormal.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Eventually you get to the point where you say, I've got what I need to get. I'm just really at the point now where I'm just trying to do something for everyone else. I'm just trying to show, look, this is what we've got. And if somebody else could take that and run with it even further, fantastic. I'm all for that. So yeah.
Ryan, what do you think was the best piece of evidence you got during those 2 seasons that you enjoyed the most, that meant something to you?
Oh, the best piece of evidence. I mean, I'm always an audio guy. I always,
Yeah.
I just ITC just blows my mind if you get some really really good captures coming through. I mean, we had standing at Comlongan Castle, for example, first audio attempt. Did somebody fall here? And we get through the recorder.
Yeah, the
like
scream, the
somebody-
yell.
and just to get this kind of stuff is just unbelievable. The most scariest experience I would say that I had, and I've never had it since, and I never had it before, was down the dungeon at Comlongan, where I run up the ladders and through my DR60. I didn't even care about DR60 because I thought there was a spirit standing here.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I think at the same time we done an audio and it said run. I think it said run.
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it said run.
And I just that feeling when like something's there. I felt like there was a mass just there. And for that split second, I think it was just a feeling over the top of me, like a feeling of dread and get out. So, something had invaded my space. And I come up the ladders and through the DR60. Seen Greg back at the base room after that. He was back at the base room and told him what happened. He says, I've never seen you look like this. I've never seen you be like this, because he knows me from all the investigations we do. So that was probably the most scariest thing that I remember happening. And it's never happened since. It has never happened anywhere since. So but on actual evidence, I think there's so much that we got. And a lot of things that probably didn't even get put out as well, that's sitting on recorders or sitting within our files that we probably should put out at some point, and let people hear it, because some of the captures are just absolutely mind-blowing, and they fit the stories of the locations that we went into, things that Chris said, things that Evelyn pulled forward. It's all there.
Yeah, it's I'd love to be able to, when I get some time, to go back through the Wicklow jail audio with some of those responses. But it's like you do it so much that there's a point sometimes you got to live your own life too, though, that if you're always researching and studying and listening to the dead, when are you actually living? That's why I'm doing my music and my art, just to get back to the creative output instead of the input, is to creative output, to then, contribute in this world, since, I'm not doing any paranormal right now, but it gives me the chance just to create something brand new into this world instead of keep communicating with something that was here a long time ago. Like Marion, Shane, it's like, you guys have seen the show, right? You've watched Haunted Scotland, Spooked Ireland, Scotland, and they title it different. It was called Spooked Scotland, Spooked Ireland in the UK, but and I think it's a great title. It's a great. I mean, I wrote a song called "Spooked" on my album. Right? It's not about what we did in the show. It's something different, because I didn't want to get into the copyright infringement thing. But they renamed it in America Haunted, Haunted Scotland, and the reason being is because the word spooked has had a negative meaning in history, so they didn't want to use that, which is respectful. That's fine, but I love the Spooked title because it's saying that there's ghost stories at these places. There's spooky things that go on in all these places, and we're going to go find out why. So I thought it was a great title for the series. But when you guys watched it, what were some of the things you liked or you didn't like about the show? Because we like to know what people didn't like, because there's things we didn't like, we just don't always talk about it. It's like,
For sure, I loved all the locations, and especially in that church where you captured the EVP stating Hellfire Club.
Oh my God, that was awesome!
Mind blowing. So
that was awesome.
I reversed it and watched again, listened again, tuned up. It was amazing, and some evidence it was jaw-dropping.
Gail and I went up to the cemetery that overlooked
necropolis.
That overlooked where the church burned. Okay, and on EVP I was either the Spirit Box or the EVP when I played it back. I said, were you involved with the church? And it said, yes, watched it burn.
Mm.
And it's just like, oh my God. They just sat there and watched it burn, So it's stuff like that, those moments in time when you make contact with a soul, a spirit that was there during that event, to hear it from their point of view, it's like a time machine. And I just find that extraordinary, whether you get gunshots, sirens, disturbances, or any type of environmental sounds like the drums from the past of the armies, that are on the opposite side of the stream at Blackwater Castle, ready to attack the castle. And we find out later that they used to drum all night long just to intimidate and disturb those in the castle, right? To make them surrender. And here, I heard the drums when I first got there, and I was unpacking my suitcase. I'm like, who the hell's blasting music of drums? And I look outside, nobody. And then I find out, holy cow. So the next day, Ryan and I venture out there, and Ryan got on his recorder. If I'm correct on this, please correct me. But I believe he got 3 times on his DR60 when we asked the drums.
Yeah.
And whether it was the 3rd time or a 4th time, so please correct me, we actually heard the drums with our own ears.
We did, because we went to have a look. We actually went to have a look to see if there was anything natural that was there that was causing it. And there was nothing. There was no roadworks, there was no traffic. It was quite a peaceful area. But yeah, that's exactly correct. And I tell you what, I've never had drums on a DR60 before, and I've never had drums on a DR60 after that. Yeah, because it was such a you know what the DR60 is, a gravelly type noise, and you've got to listen carefully, and you've got to clean it a little bit. Rarely do you get noises like that coming through. It's usually some sort of speech that will come in there. And the drums were there 3 times, I think it was, and then on the 4th time, I think we heard it.
And if I'm correct in the show, because I remember seeing, because I would get the rough cuts, I review them, and they showed the first 2 times, and then they showed across the river. But when then the final cut came, they took that out, and I think they only showed the drums being played once.
Yeah,
I was upset about that, because as from a paranormal investigator, and especially Ryan, who actually captured it, he's the investigator that captured. That's his EVP, right? It's extraordinary when you take a look at the scientific method, if you want to apply this to an argument or not. But the fact is that we didn't capture it once to where it's just an artifact, or it's, pareidolia, audio pareidolia. We've got it 3 times, and then we heard it in real time.
Yeah.
The cameraman heard it, caught it on the camera, caught it on a recorder, but we heard it with our own ears. So that, for it to be played 3 to 4 times, for it to happen, is extraordinary. And that goes to show you that it was repeatable by us asking them. But to take that out of the show, it takes away the massive significance and our excitement when we walk into the castle. And we're like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
It downplays, unfortunately, how excited we were as investigators. And I think anybody out there to capture that, 3 times and then hear it as a direct voice phenomenon is extraordinary experience. But then we got drums that sounded different, though. But we got drums through a completely different application, which was that was through the ghost tube.
Probably ghost tube, I think. Yeah,
ghost tube on the what was the battlefield? It was an Augram, right?
That was Augram battlefield. Yeah, that was amazing there. That was where we seen the mist coming over the top of the hill in the background, and we thought we could see.
I felt all the soldiers lining up. Yep, figures lining up.
That was. I remember it was like a biting, chilly coldness right to your bones when we were standing there, and you've got this mist coming around, and
all being watched.
And I thought, what is going on here?
We'll never forget that. We're like, are we supposed to be here? They're watching us, And you can only imagine in that point of history, as people that know that history, that bodies were piled on bodies, that there were so many bodies that the blood from the bodies was flowing down like a river of blood down through the farmland there, down the street. That's how much blood, how many bodies were piled up and dying.
Yeah.
And here we were, not to disrespect them, but to make contact and try to better understand. And out of respect, they played the drums for us. And to have Chris ask that question, and then it comes right through the iPad on the freaking ghost tube. we're like, whoa, there it
Oh,
is. It's like
brilliant.
it's, that's payoff. That's making spirit communication. That's respect back and forth from the investigator and the souls that are still there. And I love those moments. We live for those moments.
Yeah, that was a fantastic case. That was one with the farmhouse. That it was off the scale when we
Oh
went
my
to do our
God.
walk around. The noises and the activity
And the
and the
bell
audio and the
ringing.
bell ringing. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I'd swore on TV as well. I was just so taken back with the whole thing. Holy shit! What's
And it
going
was
on?
just me, Ryan, and our producer was right in front of us, Ruth,
Mhm.
and one cameraman. That's it. And all four of us
Nobody
were in
else
the room.
there. No crew.
Just nobody else. No one else, even outside. Just the four of us.
Mm.
And you hear the sounds coming from outside and inside, and it's just like, I mean, that's like, and we didn't know what to expect going there, right? Because it's never been investigated.
It'd never been investigated. You remember Ruth? Because Ruth, the producer. She was a
something
little
grabbed
bit
her, yeah.
skeptical, wasn't she? And someone grabbed
Grabbed her leg.
her leg, and she ran. She
Yeah.
ran out the kitchen.
Yeah, she was terrified.
She was terrified, and then the bell, and it was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. It's for those moments you live for, to have that experience and be in Ireland and to go through that, to even think back now, those are the moments that make it special, because we've actually experienced that happening. We know the controls, we know who was there, we know the story behind the whole place, and we watched it unfold in real time. And it was just, I think they've done a good job getting a lot of that over, but there was even more that was obviously being cut down a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely insane when we were there. So much so we went back and we said, we can't wait to take you to the farmhouse. We are going to have such a great time later. And it was quieter, wasn't it, when we took Vogue and Evelyn up? But we'd got the brunt of it during the daytime.
Yeah. And it's, in a nutshell, and I think Ryan would agree, is my favorite part, and I may have said this already, in having and being blessed and having the opportunity to do a paranormal TV show is precisely this, is to go to locations like this that you would never get access to walk in there for the very first time with this excitement, but also with these many years of experience that I'm ready to communicate and confront whatever's here, to learn whatever I can, to interact. That's the key. That's it. And then when you go in there and they respond and they react, and you have the owner going, oh my God, they're talking to you too. So I'm not crazy. It's those moments that when I was a child, terrified, hiding under the sheets or going into my parents' room because the ghost would come out, I'd be scared. For me, this is that it's not revenge. This is the evolution of that to where now I'm not afraid. I can confront this because I'm an adult. I understand this. I've been through this so many times. I'm here not to be afraid and figure out who the hell are you. I'm here to say, I know who you are. Let's talk, right? I'm not that scared child. I am this. What can you teach us? What can you tell us? And when they see that from you, the spirit's like, oh, this person's not afraid of me. They're not here to harm me or kick me out, whatever. They just want to listen. They just want to talk. And for me to have that opportunity to be able to travel and go to these places I never knew growing up it would be a dream come true, but it ended up being the greatest thing I've ever been able to do in my life, is to be able to go to these places with respect, with experience, but now to put all that to use to find out what I can. Because think about it, who gets the opportunity to make contact with the dead, with the afterlife, to actually experience their world for that period of time? I mean, it's like unheard of. I mean, there's people that don't believe it. Oh, it's not possible. There's no such thing. But when you've grown up and you know this is real, and you take out all the noise, and you're right there. I don't pay attention to the cameras. Everybody knows me. I don't pay attention to that. It's like they're not even there. I'm in my world, and I'm now in their world. And as I'm in their world, I want to see what it is. And I get angry and upset sometimes if they try to interrupt me while I'm in this world, because I'm like, wait a minute, he's telling me something. I'm seeing this. Now you're taking it away. Don't do that, because it's a unique experience, like space travel, whatever. You go to the moon. It's not like you just go to the moon, you got to leave. It's like you want to see what's on the moon, right? And it's like, that's me. I want to see what their world is. I want to see what they can show me and tell me. To me, that right there is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Marv, Shane, you guys are so quiet. You guys are so quiet.
We're listening.
Come on, chime in.
Yeah.
Chime in.
I love listening. But to come back at the subject of the things that I did not like from the series, but it's with a lot of paranormal series.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's what you told us before. You help the spirits afterwards because you don't want them to be stuck or
Mhm. Mhm.
that kind of things. You help them, and we know that as real investigators, we do know that you do that. They never tend to show you that
Mm.
you really want to help instead of
Yeah.
oh, the place is haunted and then
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
to me that's fake. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
I think with all those programs, the real investigators are supposed to be in charge about the evidence that's going to be showed and the things that's going to be showed on television. I know they have a
Absolutely.
time frame, but still the end cut should be yours, not theirs.
I agree. That's well put. Well put.
Yeah. So that's
I
the
totally
things I
agree.
don't like. But other than that, everything was fine.
No,
totally
thank you.
agree.
Well, we can go into like, they play the music over the EVPs and stuff.
Music over
which-
EVPs.
That
number
is very
one thing.
annoying,
The number
yeah.
one thing.
Oh,
Number one.
Yeah.
We try to tell them. We told them, but they still did it. Still did it.
Yeah.
spooky music on the run up and over the EVPs.
Yeah.
and, then
Anytime.
and then they go and play music when you're going to hear music as a direct voice phenomenon. Why are you playing music? It takes away the shock. If we start
Yeah.
hearing music, why are you playing music before we hear the music? Because then they're going to think
Or-
it's fake. It's like, what are you doing?
Or when we
Yeah.
go, did you hear that? And they've got a music underscore playing.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, no, all I can hear is the music.
Can we just
Yeah.
live the moment? It's like, come on. And like I talked to one of the owners of the company. He says, that's just an overexcited audio editor. And I said, well, frickin', this isn't frickin' The Shining or frickin' Halloween Part 5. It's like, this is a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime I make content, anytime, because I love making content. Anytime I do it, it's the one of the main things I've taken from the whole experience is I always cut the audio. We all like it. Chris loves music. We like an underscore. We like to because we want people to feel what we feel, and it's good to have that if you're putting stuff together. But as soon as you get to that evidence, whether it be noises or cut the audio, just cut it right out and let people feel that moment of what we're trying to let them hear. And I always make sure I do that. Always.
When I would go to the studio in Cary and do the voiceover, okay, because they'd have me do the narration with Vogue or with Gail, and I go to Waysound, and I would get to see the cut, and they would have the narration of what I have to say, and I would see the clip. I'd sometimes watch the clip before I say, just so I know, and I'd hear the music. I'm like, here I am telling them I'm supposed to just do this job of reading the narration. Hey, can you tell the editor to get rid of that music? That music does not go with this scene. It does not. Like, Chris, that's not your job, right? I said, I know, but the music's terrible. It doesn't even match with what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're standing there just slowly looking around us going, dun, 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 dun. This isn't a Star Wars scene where there's a battle going on. We're sitting there comfortably on a couch just slowly looking around the room. What the hell? Is he autistic? What the hell? I'm like, nothing against autism, but you don't know what's going on in their head.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there going, he's seeing a completely different thing than I'm seeing here. So, it's like, oh, it's just placement music. Just placement music. Just,
Jedi
and he's
coming
gonna
by.
fly in the corner of a room that's got his own band. And we zoom in on him, and that's where it's coming from. It's like I'm sitting there. Sometimes I'm like, who does the music scores to this? That's why I went and did my own music, because I know music, and it's just like, oh my god, crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Now I can never look at Spook Ireland or Scotland ever again. It's not going to be.
Anybody listening to this, go watch one
now.
of the episodes, and I want you to critique the music.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I will.
Yeah, but we
I'm
want
going
to
to make a
see
day
for-
job out of this one.
That's what we should have. We should have a scorecard.
Yeah.
You guys could create this. There needs to be a paranormal scorecard for shows. You have a paranormal scorecard, Okay. And it's one, did they play music over? Did they get an A or did they get an F? Right. Two, did they play the evidence? Was the evidence, were you able to make out the evidence? Was there enough evidence? Were you happy with the investigators, right? Did you like the way it was edited? You can create a scorecard, and then people can watch this, go to the website, whatever, and create a scorecard. Because when you've been in sports and you coach sports, you watch the games, and you watch the games, what you could do better, not only as a coach, but also as an individual player. How can you improve? It's like nobody does that for paranormal. It's like I would watch every episode, and I remember Help My House is Haunted. The producer got Chris, you sent 13 pages on the Calverton episode of Help My House is Haunted. I go, yeah, because it's a mess. And even our director of photography is like, yeah, it's poorly put. I'm like, and Barry put together a whole list. He goes, but 13 pages? I go, well, it's big print.
Yeah.
But I went through everything like, guys, this could be an amazing episode. I think it was one of the worst episodes we did, but it was one of the coolest places we went to. We had a lot of great stuff happen. But I'm like, I had to, because as someone that loves the paranormal and is sitting there watching it as if I'm a paranormal person watching the shows, our viewers, I'm pretending to be our viewers as I'm watching this. Some of them are going to all point this out. So I'm just trying to save you the headache that if you want to make this a great show, which was what my dream was, to make this the best show out there, here's what you need to do, right? And it's like, we don't have time to do all this. I go, well, when are you ever going to have time to do a great paranormal show? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. So that was the thing. And then, I battled that the first season of Spooked, and then the second season I made sure it was in my contract. And they said, no, we're not going to do it this time, because they saw the notes. I said, no, I want it in there. And so I went through the episodes, and I would send it. Well, we already sent it to the network and they liked it. I said, okay, so you're going to leave this in, you're going to leave that in, you're going to forget about this. Oh, that's a good point. I said, that's why I'm here, because I'm going to see stuff from a paranormal perspective that you're not going to notice. Right. So it's all part of a team working together to make something great. And, you run into people that don't understand that, and people that do. And from someone that used to be in advertising myself, and we would sit in a room with all the sales reps, we would look at advertising campaigns and we would discuss. And I loved doing that. I was in charge of that. So we'd have that once every 2 weeks. Sales reps loved it, because we'd get up there, we'd take a look at their client, their sales campaign, and said, how can we make this better for them? And everybody would jump in. That's what brainstorming is, to make it better. And we'd weigh, is that a good or is it not? Can we use that for something else? So that same principle, which is applied in sports, applied in advertising and marketing, and it's obviously applied in the entertainment industry in some ways, I felt this would help make a better paranormal show. And I know they went on to eventually do stuff like that and Help My House is Haunted. And it's just, but not everybody's like that. And it's like my dream project would be to have someone like Ryan and some of my favorite investigators I've worked with, because I know how they work, that I just let them go. They're good at doing what they're doing. They're going to bring so much to the table. And it's important knowing that you have a team like that, but then also having some of the great production people I've worked with, having them there, because they're able to film this in such a great way. Sound guy, hey guys, I heard something. Do you want to hear it? Yeah, absolutely. Because they're also an extension of the paranormal team. And then someone in editing, having them go, hey, we just noticed something on the film. Do you guys want to see this? And they sent it to us, like during one of the episodes, Help My House is Haunted. They caught a ghost in the background that we never even saw. One of the cameras, as we're doing the seance, you see this figure start to appear in the background. And we didn't know. We're done editing, filming, so it goes in there, but then a lot of the viewers noticed it too. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish we would have known that when we were there, because here was one of the spirits coming forward. And it wasn't even mentioned in the show. Right. But there it is. So when you have stuff like that and everybody working together, you make the best product you can make. And I feel like I haven't gotten to that point yet in my career. I would love to be able to, but there's times where everybody wants to kind of do their own thing. So it's one of the things you deal with. And I think every single paranormal show, you could talk to the presenters and they will tell you that they've run into similar, the only thing is like Ghost Adventures gets to do exactly what they want because Zach's pretty much in charge. But when I used to talk to him years ago, it's like he would fight with the networks all the time because they want to take something out and stuff like that. So he got to do his project the way he wanted. I know Ghost Hunters eventually, Jason and Grant got to do what they wanted to do, but you have to get to that point where you've been around for a period of time with many episodes that the network and the production tends to let you have more creative freedom in expressing what you need to express. So, it's tough. It's really tough unless you've worked with those individuals in the past. They know how you work. You know how you work. All right, let's get to work. Otherwise you have to start all over every time. You got to start all over again and getting to know how everybody works, which is really frustrating because we don't have that time. We got the location. We got a day or two to film there. And it's like, we got to get in and get out. But if you spend that time trying to figure out how everybody works, you're not really doing what you're supposed to do. And that's something I think people need to understand. That's the frustration in this industry.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You have to trust everybody around you.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I keep going back to sport. We go back to football again. You've got a great team. You're winning everything. You're putting a great product on the fields. And then you get to the summertime and they rip the team apart and they bring in new players and you've got to learn how to
start all over again.
And it takes a while to bed in. To bed in again, and I mean, we were lucky, myself and Chris, and even Evelyn, to the degree where they changed the presenter and there was a lot of changes with people like the sound guy, because we had a great sound guy on. Nothing against the sound guy in Ireland, by the way, but we had such a great sound guy.
Yeah, Steve was great the first season because he knew exactly what to listen for.
Yeah,
and like I had a great sound guy when we were on Help My House is Haunted the first season. I said, you need to bring Owen back. And they brought Owen back the second season, and Owen stayed with them the whole series. Same thing with Adrian. Steve was like that. And I remember on the phone with our producer, I said, you need to bring back Steve. No, we got a new guy. No.
We wanted Steve back.
They wouldn't listen.
Because he was able to hear things, wasn't he? He was, and he would come with it and say, guys, I've got something strange on my audio here. Do you want to listen? He would give us the files. He gave me the software
right away
to listen to these files. He was just on it. He was on it, and he was so passionate about the whole thing that we were trying to do, because that was his area. He was a sound guy. I think he just loved the fact that we were trying to look for some evidence in sound, and he could help in whatever way, and he could give us a point, and that's natural. That definitely is not natural.
Fantastic.
And you could back that up, and I just thought it was such a credit. A sound engineer working on your audio. For doing paranormal. Think about it, a sound engineer, top quality, working on your stuff. You want to try and keep that in your team.
It's I've always felt, I learned that when we were doing Dead Famous, especially like the third season, third season, but even the first season, we're at the Whaley House, and I'm at the top of the stairs making contact with some of the spirits, and I feel something racing towards me. It's going to push me and shove me near the stage, so I jump out of the way, right? It's just a normal reflex playing football. I was a running back. So I jump out of the way, and all of a sudden it shoves the producer, that was Mary, that was standing right there. And she goes racing down the stairs, screaming. She goes, I'm never going back into that house again. And I'm like, this needs to be a part of the show. So we would break the fourth wall in Dead Famous. And it was like, I would like to say maybe I was a part of that. I don't remember, but it's like, I'm like this. The whole crew is a part of the investigation. And there were some other shows, like I did Psychic Kids. They didn't want to make the crew a part of the investigation, and stuff happened all the time to the crew. And that was frustrating. So it's like, no, if I'm going to do a paranormal show, unless it's a documentary reenactment of a haunting from a long time ago, is that way I'm just there to tell the story, whatever the story is. But in this particular situation, as investigation, the crew is always a part of the investigation. They're no different than the person that lives there that we're interviewing that has the experiences. They have to be, because you can't confine the paranormal just in between the cameras. It's happening all around us within the entire location. So that's always been right away. If I've ever been involved in a show, I have to ask them those questions. And if they're against it, I'm upset about it, because that is real paranormal. And anybody that's done paranormal investigating knows there's things that can happen before the investigation, during the investigation, or after the investigation. Things can even follow you home. So it's like, that's all part of the episode. That's all part of our investigation.
Yeah.
So,
The biggest tip that Chris gave me, and I'm so glad I listened to, as he said, remember always to be ready to film on the fly, because things are going to happen. So I would carry my iPhone around with me, and I think it was St. John's Castle. in Limerick. I'd went up the stairs to set up a piece of equipment, and I was coming down, and I was actually had my camera on to come down. As I come down the stairs, there was 2 massive thuds behind me, and I caught the whole thing. Then I tried to recreate it. I went back and I tried to, and I couldn't recreate the sounds. And I was just so happy that I'd caught it. And I was like, imagine if I tried to switch myself off because the cameras weren't on. Okay, you don't need to do anything now. I had to be switched on for the whole time. From the moment I step inside the site to the moment that I come out of the site, make sure you've got a camera ready. Make sure that you're paying attention all around you. Even when you're having your dinner, just make sure you're always on, because I know how paranormal works. When the cameras go off and when you're talking amongst yourselves and doing your own thing, things happen at that point, and we had to be ready to capture that.
Yeah.
Ryan and I are going to give a lot of the listeners a tip right now. If there's anybody, and you may already know this and you're doing this yourself, but for those that aren't, if you're doing your own paranormal documentaries or investigations and you're filming, always remember OTF, on the fly. And what that means is that the minute you pull up, have your cell phone ready, an additional camera, whatever it may be. If your camera goes dead when you're filming, always have your cell phone, whip out your cell phone and start filming the fact that the camera's no longer working. Start filming that all your batteries are being drained if you're not able to film. Always have something ready to grab to. Now, we tried this when we were doing the Curse of Lizzie Borden documentary. We were going to stay later that night, the 3 of us, me, David, and the other woman's name. I forgot her name at the moment. I apologize. And we were going to film our stuff. We were going to spend the night. So we're given these cameras. So as we had the one camera, my camera drains, the battery, fully charged battery. They gave me a backup battery. I put it in, drains, no longer working. I have no more camera. Dave's camera, same thing happens. Her camera, same thing happens. All that's left now are the cameras that are hanging in. And I go, how are we going to spend the night and investigate these rooms if we have no cameras, right? So we can sit here and charge and wait hours, but it's not going to happen. And then those cameras, one of those cameras start going, all that's left is 2 other cameras. So I'm like, you know what, screw this, guys. I'm not spending the night here. Because what am I going to film? What's the point? And none of it's going to make it in the show because it's not documented. And plus, I already know what's here. I know what we're dealing with. We got the seance tomorrow night. I'm going back to so I went back to my hotel and went to sleep. I just, it's just the way it was, because I was so frustrated that we can't have this. So what I tell you is, if you get to that point, there's really nothing you can do. But always have the camera ready, always. And we had that in the second season. Chris is filming us. We're going to a room. His camera goes dead. I quickly break out my iPhone, and they always tell us, don't do vertical, do horizontal. So I go to horizontal. I start filming him and filming Ryan, and Ryan starts getting stuff in his millimeter. Then his millimeter goes dead, right? We've got that. If I didn't take out my camera, you guys would never get to see that really important point. That was the starting point of our investigation, and that was at Charlieville Castle.
Charlieville, yeah.
It's a great moment that happened that we captured. Now, that's called on the fly. And every person, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're an assistant, you become part of the fly. That's everybody's job, right? It wasn't like, hey, Ryan, start filming. No, you do it. Everybody does it. Grab your camera, start filming each other, because then you have all the different angles. You can edit that together later. You don't miss the moment. That's the thing on the fly means, is never miss the moment. If you're in the middle of an interview, I've done some shows. We're in the middle of an interview. Something paranormal happens. Oh, Chris, well, we'll get to it later. No, it's happening right now. We're in the middle of an interview. I don't care if you're in the middle of an interview. You can film it later. Stop what you're doing. Go pursue what just happened, because moments like that are very rare. Remember Dan? We're sitting at dinner, right?
Yeah.
Dan finally realized, our producer on the first season, you know what, gentlemen, everybody here, and we would have these dinners together, the whole crew, and I love that. Dan was a part of a team. He was a team. And we would all get together after every investigation, every shoot. We would have dinner together. It was required, and I loved that, right? He says, guys, obviously with doing this paranormal, I've done some other paranormal shows, but, this crew's a little different, because he respected both Ryan and I, how serious we are about what we do. He goes, and when things happen, we can't make things happen. So everybody needs to be ready to go. Whenever something happens, document it. I'm like, finally. I look at Ryan and we're like, finally, he realizes, right? Which Ryan and I have known for years, but this is great because now he's getting it, right? So when something happens, you stop what you're doing and you follow it. And it's those moments that anybody that's an investigator knows happens. And why leave those out? Those are the most important things. And that's the spirits trying to tell you something like, hey, you're filming this and doing this. We don't care about it. You need to know this. So go pursue that. That's the answer. And that's what I love. You never know when something's going to happen. So always be ready. If you're doing a YouTube series, whatever, always be on the fly. always have backup cameras or your cell phones ready to go to start filming, and someone just take charge and start filming.
Yeah.
Okay. You could be filming yourself. You could be filming them. So you all start filming and say, hey, let's go pursue this, figure out what just happened, find out.
It's so important. I even do it. We do investigation events with the public and set up before the public arrive. I've got my cell phone. I film on the fly. If something's happening, I film. Or if I put a piece of equipment out, I film it. I talk to camera. Say, wow, I'm here. I feel this. I feel that, and I keep it for later. Now, not everything I use, but I do have it there if I want to use it and I want to share that at a future point. And to look back on some of that, you're like, whoa, this is this is golden. I'm so glad I took the time to film on the fly at that moment so I can give people my perspective of what's happened here. And that's just an investigation event. That's just an event for, that's not, filming on documentary or doing it for the TV. Anytime you go on location, anytime, even if you're going for a wander of a haunted place during a Saturday afternoon, just do it then as well.
Yeah.
Because this is when things happen. Daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. Any point at the time, and capture those moments. Plus, and finally, for us, when we're going to get years down the line, we can look back on this stuff and say, wow, remember this, and it gives us our memories back too.
I'll give you guys an example. I mean, in my house here, I have cameras. I have a DVR system, that's a security system, but I specifically maxed out all the cameras I could get because of paranormal things that happen all the time in my house. So I've got, my bedroom's got a camera. I got a camera in the kitchen. I got a camera in the garage. I have 2 outdoor cameras. I got a camera in the basement. So when anything happens, like the most thing that happens is usually direct voice phenomenon. All right. As well as my cats reacting to something in the house and anomalies appearing, and I catch them either on camera or on audio. I can always go back to one of those cameras to check to see if it's there. And if it's there, I save that 30-second, 1 minute, or 5 minute clip, and I put it in a folder. I've got folders filled with hundreds of clips that I haven't gone back to, but I've got them documented, and I do that. And it's because, and then other times I'll take out my cell phone and I'll start walking around saying, okay, I heard that, you're here, and I'll just document those things. I mean, I can only imagine if I've been posting them for the past 20 years, could have gone viral or whatever, but it's just time, to do all that. I just don't have that time, but I document just in case is something significant and then it turns into something else. And there has been significant, there's been some crazy stuff, which I've considered reposting and putting out there. I mean, to have my cat, a year before he died to come into my room and usually he would come climb up or lay right next to me, but all of a sudden he goes towards my legs, and he notices something. And as he's looking at it, and he goes to put his paw there, this ball of white light starts to go up towards the ceiling, and you see him watch it go up to the ceiling and it disappears. And I can scrub means you can go back and forth with the video, and you see his head purposely following it perfectly as that it disappears. Then when it's gone, he looks back down and then looks towards me and comes back to me. Mm-hmm. And that's extraordinary capture on film, right? So it's moments like that I think are great. Like, who or what was that? Well, I can equate that night. I was dreaming about my other cats that had passed away, as if I was communicating and seeing them in heaven, right? So is it possible that one of the cats that had passed away had come down and laid next to me, but because my other cat came in, it left, right? Is that, it's possible, but I know that night I had that dream. So it's like, wow, there's things that go on in our dream state that we don't notice unless we're able to go back and to see these things on camera. So for me as an investigator, I still got cameras all over the house and I document. I just don't share it publicly,
Yeah.
Anyway. So what else do you guys want to talk about? Welcome to Paranormal TV 101.
I want to talk about everything, but we have limited time.
I know.
Yeah, so you have to come back.
Anytime, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I don't, either myself, Ryan, or both of us, whatever.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Well, the both of you are always welcome, so that's not going to be a problem.
No, thank you. Yeah, Ryan's a source of information and everything, and I miss I miss our investigations.
Yeah. We had some fun times, and we used to talk about some deep stuff, traveling as well, and
Yeah.
into everything about the universe and consciousness, and
Talked about the gateway and everything, and I did not know during the first season, but
yeah,
Ryan and I got deep conversations about
mm,
out of body experiences, soul travel, the
yeah,
gateway, and consciousness. And I was just like, wow, he's
yeah,
on the same page I am. Like, this is
yeah.
so cool. And that's what's great about working together. You get to learn all
Mm,
these other things,
Yeah.
and what drives. I know what drives Ryan, and
mhm,
I
mhm.
respect that immensely,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So,
Cool.
but hey, I have a new album out.
That's
Everybody
the
buy it.
last thing. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Just wanted to say, real quickly before I forget, is when I had cancer and everything, I sat there and I shut everything off and I said, I'm here, I'm present. All the prayers around the world, I appreciate it because I was not supposed to make it. I mean, I just saw my doctor last month. He goes, I'm going to just tell you this. You weren't supposed to make it. And it's not something a doctor would normally say. I said, I know. I have friends in high places, right? And I'm very blessed by all the prayers. But during that time, I reflected everything I've done in my life, that I was very proud of, and a lot of things I didn't get to do that I was really upset about. And the voice asked, what is one thing, if you could do it, what would you do? And I said, music.
Mm,
And sadly, my cat died within that week. And I wrote a song, Will I Ever Hold Your Paw Again? I put it on my Facebook. And I wrote it real quickly and everything over 2 days. And now with today's technology, with AI and everything,
mm,
I take my lyrics that I wrote and I figure them out when I'm finalized. I create compositions. I decide what instruments, who I want to sing, what genre, and I create a concept. And then I put that in there. It's not just I put it in there, tell me create something. No, I really structure it like an artist, like a director. And then when I put it out, is I either edit some stuff myself, and then when I'm ready, I go into a studio. And I've gone into studios. I spent 6 weeks on this album. 6 weeks
mm,
I spent with an audio engineer, and we went through 21 songs one by one. We added additional instruments, additional vocals, special effects, editing, mixing two songs together, and all that type of stuff that you would normally do in the studio. And we
mm,
want to make sure the sound was phenomenal. So the first out of much more that I'll be releasing and putting out is called Boogeyman Blues,
mhm.
and that's Noir right there, who had passed away.
Oh,
And this is basically a morphic form, very similar to the imps and the
mm,
boogeyman and the black shadows you used to ever seen. I wanted to create a little bit more friendly type figure there, but I designed the whole package, everything. The
it's
CD's in my
amazing.
car right now, and I
Cool.
pay all the respect to all the musicians and everybody that helped make
Mhm,
this a reality. But for someone to go from cancer that you're supposed to die, and then a voice to tell you, and then to follow through, this is one of the greatest things I've done in a long time, to be able to see this become a reality.
mhm,
So I tell people, I said, I have a hip hop rock album coming out. I'm talking to some other musicians to do a hard rock album with all the rock, paranormal rock songs I wrote.
mhm,
Ryan's heard some of them.
mm,
But this, I wanted to start with this because old blues is what everything comes from. The old blues. If you like the movie Sinners, when they did the juke joint
mhm,
and they're singing and everything, a lot of the music is like this that's in here. And if you love the paranormal, you're going to love this album. I guarantee it. You're going to be blown away.
mhm,
So I tell people, if you're overseas, there's Qbiz or Qbiz, whatever it's called. You can download it, but you could go to Spinny Media. Spinny Media has the CD if you want to get a CD, and then Apple or Amazon, you can download the digital from Amazon and Apple iTunes, and you're gonna love it. It's affordable. You got 21 songs for affordable price, and the reviews have just been phenomenal. And I'm very blessed that people are getting to hear what I've done over the last 2 years and the passion that I put into this. And plus, it's good. It's good
mhm,
stuff. Very spiritual, paranormal, and the ghost stories.
mhm.
So it's the only thing I could offer anybody right now as I'm continuing to recover and heal. But music is universal. And that's why I decided I wanted to do this, to say, hey, I'm not done yet. Or like I wrote a song called I'm Not Dead Yet. Or I'm Not Dead Yet. And I haven't put that out yet. It's a hard rock song, but not dead yet. And it has great meaning that while you're still here, even though people may take things away from you or life may take things away from you, is you're still here to create, express, and contribute. Find out what that is and do it regardless. Don't ever let anybody tell you can't, because that's why you're here, is to do those three things. And you'll always be surprised that eventually what that becomes and turns into.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That
So
hits
thank
home.
you.
Absolutely. We will share out all the links. I do need
Yep.
Thank you.
to add the link for the Apple and the Amazon, so people can find your
Thank you.
album. For the rest, I put down all the links and the link tree, so it will be
Thank you.
added to Spotify and all the platforms, and
Yep.
also
Wonderful.
on TikTok, and I will add it tomorrow in YouTube as well.
And I'm going to add it to the Haunted Scotland website as well. I'm just going to actually
Thank you.
write it down
Thank you.
so that of everybody in the UK here can see exactly where to get it as well.
Yeah, I just found out from Amazon, was it yesterday or the day before, that the top 3 songs people are requesting is Good Old Henry, Talking Through the Ouija Board, and Why Do Ghosts Got the Blues. I was surprised about Why Ghosts Got the Blues. I mean, it's a great song, but there's other more single-oriented songs on there. But I know it's the melody, because the melody in the middle of it is pretty amazing in that song. But those are the 3 songs that Amazon's telling me from being requested that is resonating with people. So that's kind of cool when you figure out, what are the songs people like the most or requesting the most. Those are the 3 so far.
Amazing.
Anyway.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you guys. I mean, for having us. I don't know how long your show is, so I'm kind of waiting for you to tell us, are we done or are we going? It's like I've got this hip hop rock album that I've been meaning to the past 2 weeks to finish the packaging for, which is almost done, and then I have to upload it to disc makers to make the CD, and then I got to get it to DistroKid, so it's up in the distribution center, but I'm not going to distribute it, I think, till September, because I've got this 3rd album, Godspeed, that I've been working on. I want to get done, and I'm like, it's just like one thing after another. I said I got to finish that tonight and get that done, because when you guys hear this hip hop rock album, I was a fan of Beastie Boys. When in the 80s, I liked hard rock, but I liked the Beastie Boys, and I liked a little bit Tone Loc and Young MC and little Will Smith. So I wrote songs and lyrics like regarding that era, and I created the compositions and everything to kind of reflect that hard rock era. And it's a lot of fun. And my audio engineer, I had a different audio engineer on this one. He's looking at me going, how did you, I don't know, man. Maybe it's God's giving me this great gift to come back and I'm able to create this music. I don't know. It's just, I just want to get it out there and see what, have people enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool, and it's like, I'll just share this because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I have 2 friends. One has been in a really popular band. I don't want to say anything because I don't want any attention brought to it yet until we do something. And then another guy was a guitarist in a really popular band in the 90s, well-known band, that they've been listening to the stuff and they want to do something with me. And so it's kind of cool. Like, okay, this is cool. So the one album we're going to start in February, his solo album that I'm going to produce for him. And then this other guy wants to play an instrument on my rock album for my first rock album. So I have in the next 2 days to get him the links of that material for him to start listening to, and we're going to decide what tracks are going to go on that album, and figure out all the legal stuff and particulars for him playing drums on them. So it's like, okay, all right, well, don't mess this up. You know what I mean? It's like, just keep doing what you're doing, and just don't mess this up, right? Because who knows what this could turn into. It's I just want to, I'm saying this because I want people to realize, and I know there's a lot of people out there, I never did this, I never did that. It's never too late. I mean, I'm 59 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd never, I minored in music. 2014 went in a studio and we were going to do an album and it just fell apart. So it's like, this is like the last shot, the last chance. Right. But I tell anybody out there is, as long as nobody gets in your way, and if you feel you've always been relying on other people, just go do it yourself. I mean, look what Ryan's doing. We had hoped, and I used to tell him too. I said, they want to go to Wales next. I go, dude, let's just focus on it right now, because I know how things can change, and it just didn't happen. It never happened. So don't get excited about all this other stuff that hasn't happened yet. Let's do what you're doing now and get it done and go from there. But if it doesn't happen, then go do your own thing. Look what he's doing now. He's going all over the place with these investigations, and it's so freaking cool, right? So it's like, for anybody else out there listening, just don't give up, man. Because if you don't get to at least try, like my dad says, you'll never know unless you try.
Yeah.
right? And so just go try. And if you fail, try again or try something else. Just try. That's why you're here. Right? It's better to try everything and finally know the truth than to regret. Oh, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. It'll eat you up. So everybody out there listening, go do something you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Start working towards it. Get it done. Do it.
Do your passion. I always remember Dr. Wayne Dyer was he saying, you know, don't let the music inside you die with you. You know, get it out there and follow your passion. So, yeah, I mean, my passion obviously lies within the paranormal and spirituality areas, and just keep going and following it. Because if you've got the passion, there's enough energy there to keep you going, regardless. It's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about fortune, anything like that. You're just focused on what you want to do, and it's so exciting to see these visions inside come to fruition around about you.
100%. Let's end with that because Ryan nailed it.
I just wanted to say we're gonna end with this great ass advice. Because you wondering how long the show was supposed to be? 50 minutes ago.
Oh wow!
No, we decided it's our show, so
yeah, awesome.
Exactly.
Usually,
this is the bonus edition with Ryan and Chris.
Yeah,
exactly. To be continued.
I appreciate. I know Ryan and I appreciate this because we're very passionate about. And thanks for bringing him on because I love him to death, and I don't get to see him and talk to him, you know. And you know, I in a heartbeat, if I got asked, you know, to do another show with Ryan, I would do it in a heartbeat. If they asked me who they want to work with, I would tell them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because we both know, you know. And what does that mean? Well, we've told you. We both know, and it's that knowingness of being there for spirit that makes it just so much more enjoyable. It's the right team. He's a perfect teammate. Yeah. So, you know, that's it. And I tell people just follow your passion, whatever that may be. And it's better to know and have accomplished it and got it out of your system. And sometimes it grows later on. My magazine, I stopped doing it 2003. A director found my magazine and hired me to do it. I hadn't done the magazine in 3 years. You know, something you do right now may end up on someone's desk, or it might inspire somebody. You may know, you may find out later going, oh my God, you saw that? Yeah, we love it. We want, okay, just put it out there. You know, Rick Rubin, I'm a big fan of Rick Rubin, the music producer. He says, just get it out there. Okay, so we'll end on that.
All right.
Sorry,
as always.
Sorry. If you guys don't stop us, we will keep talking.
We'll keep going.
I know.
We're like the Energizer Bunnies. You know, the crew would say, okay, we're done. We're wrapping up. Ryan's like, no, we want to keep going. We can't, Chris. By law, we have to stop after 12 hours. I don't care. We want to keep going. Ryan's like, yeah, let's keep going.
All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks so much for joining us, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Shane and Mary. All the best to you guys on the show. Appreciate it. You know, Ryan, are you in a studio or something? You've got like the walls.
No, it's
like soundproof thing.
It's my outside my garden office.
That's a cool office.
Yeah, so this is where I do all my video editing and analysis and daily stuff here.
Here we are going off on another tangent right now. We both got ADHD.
Something like that. Let's talk some more in the back room.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hit it. Shit.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
As always, we will start with a little bit of music, end with a little bit of music. We didn't start. We end with a little bit of music, and we will see you next week. No, Friday. Friday. Oh my God, I almost forgot. Friday, because we exist 2 years Friday, so there will be a extra live this week. So everybody, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
And buy the CD. Bye.
Bye.
Shadows bending where light won't go, chasing truth in a haunted show. Are they real or something? or skeptics grin. Ghosts of questions circling within. Answers vanish before they land. Investigators with their tools in hand, talking to the dark like it understands. Spirits rising from the sand.